back to my channel. And I know a lot of people have been missing me, and then they've been asking about the next video, and yeah, it is. Today I'll be following up on the last video. I did talk about how to go about the nursing top of degree in the UK in the last video, but today I'll be talking specifically about the University of Derby, because I finished from there and a lot of people have been asking me about it and how to go about it from start to finish. So sit back and relax. I believe this is something that you will really find useful if you're about to commence your top of degree in Derby or you're considering it. Now, the top of nursing degree in the University of Derby is completely online. You don't have to be in school at all. You don't have to step a foot in school at all. And it is something you can complete within 1 to 2 years, depending on what you want. And it's quite cheap to a very large extent compared to other degrees in the UK. The main program itself costs £5,040, while the bridge course, which I'll be talking about later on in the video, costs £840. So compared to that degrees in the UK, this is very, very cheap. Let me put a disclaimer there. This is not an endorsement video or an advertisement video for the University of Derby. No, this is just to educate people about how to go about it and what it entails. So I am not advertising for the University of Derby, as much as I believe it's a very good school and the program is a very nice one, but I am not advertising, okay? So now we can continue. So like I said, you can choose to do it in 1 year or 2 years, depending on you majorly. It's just about your preference. So for the 1 year, it is called the accelerated, and for the 2 years, it is called the standard route. So it depends on what works for you. If you think you have a lot of time to spare, you can opt for the 1 year. I did the 1 year and I found it very useful. I found it very good for me. But if you don't have ample time to do all of these things, you can opt for 2 years. It's just on you majorly. Now for the 1 year, you need to know that it's very fast paced and you're going to be doing a double of what the person who is going to be spending 2 years will be doing. So you have to understand that you have to put in a lot of time to ensure that you get all of those things covered as much as possible. Okay, so to start with, I would say if you work with the NHS or you work with an organization or an hospital that has opportunities for sponsorship, it might be worth it if you push it to them. Some hospitals might have funding opportunities for this. If you need to pay maybe partial funding or full funding, I think it's really worth it. And highest you will get is a no, and it's too hard if you have someone covering that cost for you. And if you get a no, it's sometimes it's not all about you. It might be because the hospital financial obligation doesn't allow it, or the hospital's policy doesn't allow it. So just try your luck, push it there. Okay, now the University of Derby has intakes for January, May and September, so you can choose to start in any of these months. And by the time you start, or before you apply, you can try to ensure that you put in your application on time. And some people, or most people I know, have to get their pins. For me, I was expecting my pin when I started, but I was very close to getting the pin already. So yeah, I was able to talk to them, and then I had the time between application and enrolling to ensure that I had that in place. And so I would say you might want to consider starting when you have your pin already. But if you don't, you might want to talk to the school and see if the arrangements can be put in place to ensure that you still get to start. And I have a number of people that started outside the UK as well, so you might want to call the school and find out if you might be eligible, even though you're not in the UK. Okay, so the University of Derby uses an online classroom which is called Blackboard. And this Blackboard, by the time you enroll, you will get the Blackboard application and you get a login for that, and that is more like your online classroom for you to interact with lecturers and interact with other students as well. Now for the whole program itself, you will be having 4 optional modules and 1 compulsory module. Now, regardless of if you're doing 1 year or 2 years, you'll be having this same, number of modules. The only difference is that you get to choose which module you opt in for, and that is just based on you. But I would say before you pick these modules, make inquiries, ask questions from people that have done it before. You might even want to get like their assessment brief, which is like a piece of material that contains everything that the assessment for that module is all about, and you might read it and see if it is something that works for you. But it's highly individualized as well. If you're doing the 1 year, you will be having 3 trimesters in whole. Your first trimester, you'll be having the opportunity to do 1 optional module of 20 credits. Sorry, 2 optional modules, 20 credits each for the first trimester. The second trimester, you'll be doing 1 optional module of 20 credits, and you'll be starting your independent study, which is your project or your dissertation in the second trimester. And on the third trimester, you'll be doing another optional module of 20 credits, and then you'll be continuing the independent study. Now, you'll be submitting every trimester, so that implies that the first trimester will be submitting the 2 optional modules at the end of that trimester. The second trimester, you'll be submitting 1 optional module, but you wouldn't be submitting your independent study till the final trimester. And the third trimester, you'll be submitting both the independent study and the optional module. Now, these optional modules, like I said, they are there just for you to pick the ones you want and the ones that are available for that trimester for you to do, and then just ensure that you don't just do it because somebody else did it before. Do what you think will benefit your career on the long run, and you can also like I said, get to read about these courses way before, and just to make an informed decision. And I would say when you are enrolled on this module, ensure that you start getting into it on time. The first thing you need to do is you need to navigate your Blackboard application as much as possible. Navigate it to know what you are expected to do. Now, before most people start, you need to do the bridge course, which costs £840. Now, a lot of people have been asking me if it is worth it, or if they can see if it can be waived for them. Now, in my own personal opinion, if you have never trained in the UK before, you don't know how UK writing system works, it might not be worth it for you to waive it. I don't know people personally that were able to, but in case you're considering, I would say leave it there, do the module, because it prepares you for the degree itself, and it doesn't contribute to your degree's course. So that implies it's more like a preparatory module, which is very good, especially if you're looking at getting acclimatized to the system and getting to make the best grades possible. So I think it's a very good one for you to start with. It's about 3 months in itself, but by the time you consider the break in between and the time for you to get enrolled onto the degree itself, so it's like 6 months. And when you're putting in your application, let me say this: don't apply for the don't apply for the bridge module, which is certificate of health, certificate in health and social care, and don't apply for that immediately. Apply for the BSc itself. When you apply for the BSc itself, then they will give you the option of taking that module first, okay? Because if you apply for that module first, it implies you've not applied for the degree itself, and you might have to wait more before you can get enrolled onto the degree itself. Now, the online learning platform, like I said, contains everything you'll be needing for the whole learning period, and there's a discussion board on it. There are the course contents on it, your submission points and all, but we're not talking about the discussion board, the course content, and then the submission points. Now, the discussion board is where all the students and the lecturers interact. You're supposed to be submitting more of classworks, so to say, or mini assignments. They call them the formative assessments. You submit them on the discussion board, and you get comments on them depending on your module, but you are not graded on your submissions. Now, this is something that people need to know. You're not graded on your submission at that point, because it's just for them to know you're still active, you understand what is being taught, but you're not graded. Now, that implies that you shouldn't go the extra mile to research and research and post everything there. No, because other students will be seeing your submission, so you're meant to just be posting, just show that you're there, show that you understand. But any more detail you have should go into your final assessment. Okay, so aside that, having said that, then you can go on the assessment, you can go on the assessment, and then you will download the assessment before you to read. So this contains what you're supposed to be writing on, how you're supposed to be writing it, number of words, and the deadline for submission. So you need to really read about this really well and then submit to time. Okay, now the submission point, there is a standard submission point, and then there is the originality check submission point. The originality check submission is just for you to understand what you are or just understand with the plagiarism score. That is how much of your work has been seen somewhere else, and then you aim below 24 for University of Derby, and you submit to the standard submission points unless in specific cases that you need to go anywhere else. And don't wait till the final the deadline before you submit. You have to ensure that you submit on time. Submit on time so you can have the time to review all of these things, review your work, review your plagiarism score, and be sure that you've got everything needed. Because if you wait to the deadline, you submitted into the wrong place, you might not be able to rectify it on time, and it might be capped as a fail for you. Okay, and please, when you start your independent study, be very active, be there. You know what I mean? Contact your supervisor, talk to your supervisor on time, get everything rolling, because that takes a lot of time, and you need the guidance as much as possible. So you don't want to wait till it's way too late before you start that. And you have to start looking at what you're supposed to be writing from the beginning, and you start building it up. Build it up as much as possible, because the good grades are there for you to take, but you need to put in all the work possible. So like I said, always navigate the discussion, the platform, the Blackboard application that Derby uses, and then ensure that you start writing on time. You ask for counsel, and it will be worth it joining any WhatsApp platform that your year might have, so that you can get to know other students and you can ask for help as much as possible as well. Okay. And one good thing about the University of Derby is you can also pay monthly. So the monthly payment system makes it very flexible, and I think it's something worth exploring as well. So if you're doing it for 1 year, you spread the cost over 1 year, and if you're doing it for 2 years, you get to spread the cost as well. So now, if you're doing the 2-year route, you will be taking one optional module in your first trimester. So if you're having 6 trimesters, unlike the person taking it for 1 year, so you'll be taking one optional module per trimester for the first 3 trimesters. For the four trimesters, the 5th trimester you'll be taking independent study, and the 6th trimester you'll be taking independent study. So you're having 120 credits. So that will be 4 credits of 4 optional modules, 20 credits each, and independent study, which is 40 credits itself. That is 120 altogether. Okay, so if you've really enjoyed this, you have to please like this, and click on the subscribe button, and leave comments below if you want me to talk about anything else. And I think people will find this useful, but if you have any other questions, you can leave it in the comment section, and I'll be reading them all. Okay, all right, so bye for now. See you in the next video. Bye.